for Annie. Thank heaven. The crisis, the danger is past, and the lingering illness is over at last, and the fever called living is all conquered at last. Sadly, I know I am shorn of my strength, for no muscle I move as I lie at full length. But no matter, I feel I am better at length. And I rest so composedly now in my bed that any beholder might fancy me dead, might start at beholding me, thinking me dead. The moaning and groaning, the sighing and sobbing are quieted now, and the horrible beating at heart, oh, that horrible, horrible throbbing, the sickness, the nausea, the pitiless pain have ceased with the fever called living that maddened my brain, with the fever called living that burned in my brain. And oh, of all tortures, that torture, the worst, has abated. The terrible torture of thirst for the naphthaline river of passion accursed. I have drunk of a water that quenches all thirst. From a water that flows with a lullaby sound from a spring but a very few feet underground, from a cavern not very far down underground, and never let it be said that my room, it is gloomy and narrow my bed, for man never slept in a different bed, and to sleep you must slumber in just such a bed. My tantalized spirit now blandly reposes, forgetting and never regretting the roses, its old agitations of myrtles and roses. For now, while lying so quietly, it fancies a holier odor about it of pansies, a rosemary odor commingled with pansies, with rue, and the beautiful Puritan pansies. And so it lies, happily, bathing in many a dream of the truth and the beauty of Annie, drowned in a bath of the tresses of Annie. She kissed me. She fondly caressed, and then I fell gently to sleep on her breast, deeply to sleep on the heaven of her breast. When the light was extinguished, she covered me warm, and she prayed to the angels to keep me from harm, to the Queen of the angels to shield me from harm. And I lie so composedly now in my bed, knowing her love, that you fancy me dead. And I rest so contentedly now in my bed with her love at my breast that you fancy me dead, that you shudder to look at me, thinking me dead. But my heart, it is brighter than all of the many stars in the sky, for it sparkles with Annie. It glows with the light of the love of my Annie, with the thought of the light of the eyes of my Annie.
Lo, death has reared itself a throne in a strange city lying alone, far down within the dim west, where the good, the bad, and the worst, and the best have gone to their eternal rest. Their shrines and palaces and towers, time-eaten towers that tremble not, resemble nothing that is ours, around by lifting winds forgot, residing beneath the sky, the melancholy water lie. No rays from the holy heaven come down on the long night time of that town, but lights from out the lurid sea stream up the terrace silently, gleaming up the pinnacles far and free, up the domes, up the spirals, up the kingly halls, up the fans, up the Babylon-like walls, up shadowy long-forgotten bowers of sculptured ivory and stone flowers, up many a marvelous shrine whose weathered frenzies intertwine, the viola, the violet, and the vine, residingly beneath the sky, the melancholy water lie. So blend the terrace and shadows there, they all seem pendulous in air, while from a proud tower in that town, death looks gigantically down. There open fans and gaping graves, yon level with luminous waves, but not the riches there that lie in each idol's diamond eye, not the gaily jeweled dead tempt those waters from their bed. For no ripple curl, alas, among the wilderness of the glass, no swelling tells of winds may be upon a far off happier sea, no heaving hints that winds have been, unless seas less hideously serene. But lo, a stir is in the air, the wave, there is movement there, as if the towers had thrust aside in slightly sinking the dull tide, as if the tops had feebly given a void within the filmy heaven. The waves now have a redder glow, the hours are breathing faint and low, and then among no earthly moan, down, down, the town shall hence. Hell rises from 1,000 thrones, shall do its revenge.
Bridal Ballad. The ring is on my hand, and the wreath is on my brow. Satin and jewels grand are all at my command, and I am happy now. And my Lord, he loves me well. But when he first breathed his vow, I felt my bosom swell, for the words rang as a knell, and the voice seemed his who fell in the battle down the dell. And who is happy now? But he spoke to reassure me, and he kissed my pallid brow, while a reverie came o'er me, and to the churchyard bore me, and I sighed for him before me, thinking him dead to lure me. Oh, I am happy now. And thus the words were spoken, and thus the plighted vow. And though my faith be broken, and though my heart be broken, here is a ring as token that I am happy now. Would God I could awaken, for I dream I know not how, and my soul is sorely shaken, lest an evil step be taken, lest the dead for who is saken may not be happy now. Ulalume. The skies, they were ashen and sober. The leaves, they were crisped and sere. The leaves, they were withering and sere. It was night in the lonesome October of my most immemorial year. It was hard by the dim lake of Auber, in the misty mid-region of Weir. It was down by the dank tarn of Auber, in the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. Here once, through an alley titanic, of cypress I roamed with my soul, of cypress with Psyche, my soul. These were days when my heart was volcanic, as the scoriac rivers that roll, as the lavas that restlessly roll their sulphurous currents down Nyack in the ultimate climes of the pole, that groan as they roll down Mount Nyack in the realms of the boreal pole. Our talk had been serious and sober, but our thoughts they were palsied and sere. Our memories were treacherous and sere, for we knew not that the month was October, and we marked not the night of the year. Ah, night of all nights in the year! We noted not the dim lake of Auber, though once we had journeyed down here, remembered not the dank tarn of Auber, nor the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. And now, as the night was senescent, and star-dials pointed to morn, as the star-dials hinted of morn, at the end of a path a liquescent and nebulous lustre was born, out of which a miraculous crescent arose with a duplicate horn, Astarte's bediamonded crescent, distinct with its duplicate horn. And I said, she is warmer than Diane. She rolls through an ether of sighs. She revels in a region of sighs. She has seen that the tears are not dry on these cheeks where the worm never dies, and has come past the stars of the lion to point us the path to the skies, to the Lethean peace of the skies, come up in despite of the lion to shine on us with her bright eyes, come up through the lair of the lion with love in her luminous eyes. But Psyche, uplifting her finger, said, sadly this star I mistrust, her pallor I strangely mistrust. Ah, hasten, ah, let us not linger, ah, fly, let us fly, for we must. In terror she spoke, letting sink her wings, till they trailed in the dust. In agony sobbed, letting sink her plumes, till they trailed in the dust, till they sorrowfully trailed in the dust. I replied, this is nothing but dreaming. Let us on by this tremulous light. Let us bathe in this crystalline light. Its symbolic splendor is beaming with hope and in beauty tonight. See, it flickers up through the sky, through the night. Ah, we safely may trust to its gleaming, and be sure it will lead us aright. We safely may trust to a gleaming that cannot but guide us aright, since it flickers up to heaven through the night. Thus I pacified Psyche, and kissed her, and tempted her out of her gloom, and conquered her scruples and gloom, and we passed to the end of the vista, but were stopped by the door of a tomb, by the door of a legended tomb, and I said, what is written, sweet sister, on the door of this legended tomb? She replied, Ulalume, Ulalume, 'tis the vault of thy lost Ulalume. Then my heart it grew ashen and sober, as the leaves that were crisped and sere, as the leaves that were withering and sere, and I cried, it was surely October, on this very night of last year, that I journeyed down here, that I bought a dread burden down here, on this night of all nights in the year. Ah, what demon hath tempted me here? Well, I know now this dim lake of Auber, this misty mid-region of Weir. Well, I know now
this dank tarn of Auburn, this ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir.
Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. That it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door that scarce was sure I heard you." Here I opened the door. Darkness there, nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortals ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore?" Only this, nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mane of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's plutonium shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further then he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by a reply so aptly spoken, Doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of never, never more. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Then, upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl, whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press. Ah, nevermore. Then, methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Oh, wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee respite, and nepent thee from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels named Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that our word in parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beat from out my heart and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes of all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells, what a world of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme to the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells, what a world of happiness their harmony foretells. Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight, from the molten golden notes and all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon. Oh, from out the sounding cells, what a gush of euphony voluminously wells. How it swells, how it dwells, of the future, how it tells, of the rapture that impels to the swinging and the ringing of the bells, 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 of the bells, 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 to the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. Hear the loud alarum bells, brazen bells, what a tale of terror now their turbulency tells. In the startled air of night, how they scream out their affright. Too much horrified to speak, they can only shriek, shriek, out of tune, in a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in a mad expostulation with the deaf and frantic fire, leaping higher, 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 with a desperate desire and a resolute endeavor now to sit or never, by the side of the pale-faced moon, of the bells, 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 what a tale their terror tells, of despair, how they clang and clash and roar, what a horror they outpour on the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the ear it fully knows, by the twanging and the clanging, how the danger ebbs and flows, yet the ear distinctly tells, in the jangling and the wrangling, how the danger sinks and swells, by the sinking or the swelling, in the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells, 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 in the clamor and the clangor of the bells. Hear the tolling of the bells, iron bells, what a world of solemn thought their melody compels. In the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright at the melancholy menace of their tone. For every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan. And the people, the people, they that dwell up in the steeple, all alone, and who tolling, tolling, tolling in that muffled monotone, feel a glory in so rolling on the human heart a stone. They are neither man nor woman, they are neither brute nor human, they are ghouls, and their king it is who tolls, and he rolls, 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 rolls a paean from the bells, and his merry bosom swells with the paean of the bells, and he dances and he yells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the paean of the bells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the throbbing of the bells, 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 to the sobbing of the bells, keeping time, 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 as he knells, 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 in a happy runic rhyme of the bells, 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 to the tolling of the bells, 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 to the moaning and the groaning of the bells.
Maria, thou hast heard my hymn, in joy and woe, in good and ill. Mother of God, be with me still. When the hours flew brightly by, and not a cloud obscured the sky, my soul, my soul, lest it be, truly be, thy grace did guide to thine and thee. Now, when storms of fate overcast, darkness my present and my past, let my future and radiant shine with sweet hopes of thee.
this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night, or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. How few! Yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. Oh God, can I not grasp them in a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream?